So, like many of you, today I watched Exclusive Ace's video about how they buffed the RPG in Modern Warfare, and completely left it out of the patch notes. Oh boy! Likely not in the latest patch, but in a patch or two before. In the latest patch, they did tweak it so the RPG is a little less powerful against fully armored opponents in Warzone or something. I don't know, I don't really play Warzone. But honestly, I just hate the RPG in Modern Warfare in general. Now, you might be thinking, boom, this is going to be really silly if you complain about the RPG after you said the noob tubes need a buff. Well, yes, I fully agree that it would be, except for the fact that the biggest buff I wanted for the noob tubes was just that they'd stopped negatively affecting my gun, so if I do decide to use their shitty noob tubes, it doesn't hurt my gun's aim down sight speed or whatever. I mean, I really don't know what it is with Modern Warfare having frustrating secondaries to go up against. I mean, dual-wield Renettis, Snake Shot, you have the RPG, and although it does require a bit more planning, the knife is also very frustrating in core mode because you need multiple shots to kill somebody, and also if you're on console, trying to aim at somebody sprinting towards you sort of fucks up your aim assist a little bit, and it can get messy. Anyway, I look at the RPG as a bad habit that players have been forming since the game came out, and I don't know, if this game had a pick 10 system for its create class, then you'd have to give something up to have that RPG, but since you're guaranteed a secondary, the only thing you give up by choosing a knife is Snake Shot, the only thing you give up by choosing Snake Shot is a Renetti, the only thing you give up by choosing a Renetti is an RPG, and so, yeah. I'm somebody that likes the M19, because of its large magazine, fast rate of fire, it's a good secondary to pull out when you're out of ammo, and I really like it for that. But I feel really discouraged from using that when the Deagle hits so hard. Snake Shot is still really frustrating to fight against and is a lot easier to use. Burst Renettis put out a crazy amount of damage. Even after the nerf, they are very, very capable, bullet hoses. And then the RPG is just a way to avoid a gunfight. I'm going to talk about the RPG and EOD a little bit more here, but I want to quickly say when it comes to the secondaries in Modern Warfare, since the secondaries are so weird and kind of unbalanced, I think the crossbow should be a secondary because I'm never going to run it as a primary and it's not worth running overkill for. So please, Infinity Ward, make the crossbow a secondary. But now focusing on the RPG did not need a buff. In Warzone, in Core, doesn't matter. The RPG fills me with rage every time I go up against somebody using it. Now, I think the RPG should be useful. I don't want it to be completely unviable, but the thing is too damn accurate for what it is. It has too big of a blast radius, and the way people use it makes me sick. A lot of the times, people that are actively using the RPG, what they do is they damage you with their primary weapon, and then when you go around a corner or try to use cover, they shoot next to that cover, and of course the splash damage kills you. You see, the EOD perk does a really cool thing. It clamps damage down to non-lethal levels when at 100% health. So if you get shot, you go around cover, you have EOD, it doesn't matter because it won't clamp that RPG damage down because you were damaged. I have gotten hit by a stray MP5 bullet by somebody on Azir Cave, went behind cover, and then got hit by an RPG even though I had EOD. It landed close enough to me to kill me, and EOD should absorb that. And that's sort of my proposed buff. You don't really have to fuck up the RPG, although I do have a way I think we should fuck it up a little bit, but really, EOD should clamp explosive damage down to non-lethal levels as long as you are above half health. That way somebody can't tag you with a couple of MP5 rounds from a distance, or SMG, or a pistol. Obviously they can't use a pistol, but you know what I mean. They can't do a little bit of damage to you and then remove your damage clamping. No, I think if you are above half health, explosive damage should be non-lethal. And I say that because this game has the Shrapnel perk, and the Shrapnel perk allows you, of course, to have 2 Claymores, 2 Proximity Mines, 2 C4s, 2 Frag Grenades. Not great. Also, Amped exists, meaning you can pull out and fire your RPG and reload it quickly and fire again. So, it's not one explosive we're talking about. One person can potentially have 2 RPG rockets, 2 frag grenades, and a noob tube, so let's not talk about, it's unnecessary to do that. EOD would be overpowered, explosives would be nerfed. Also, you're guaranteed lethals and tacticals in this game, so the fact that I have to even have this conversation that they should maybe be a little bit less viable is weird to me. Explosives should only be extra viable, as they are in Modern Warfare, when you have to give up something to run them. You don't give anything up to run them. They should just be a utility. They shouldn't be a way to subvert a gunfight. And if you guys watch a lot of my gameplays, you'll see me just you know, oh, I'm not winning the gunfight, I guess I'll throw C4 over the wall because the game lets me. It is weird how many times I'll kill people with C4 or an explosive and they won't switch to EOD, or if I'm using claymores because I'm playing solo and I sort of just want my back covered, people won't switch to spotter after they die by them 3 times, but, you know, adaptation doesn't mean get good, adaptation means, come on, figure it out. The fact that getting hit by an RPG or C4 basically makes EOD suddenly not worth using because EOD is no longer clamping your damage, which really makes me want to run stims on every one of my classes combined with restock so I can just keep healing myself so that EOD can keep clamping that damage down to non-lethal levels. Maybe that or quick fix, but can't have quick fix and EOD, so shit. Now look, I'm not saying this is a game-ruining thing. I'm not getting RPG'd every game, just like I'm not getting quickscoped by the Kar98 and MK2 every game. It's more of a minor frustration, but at least with the MK2 and Kar98 deaths that frustrate me, I know that person had to be precise and their margin for error is pretty small. The RPG doesn't give you a small margin for error, it doesn't challenge you, and there's no real sense of randomness to it. On most 6v6 maps, with most 6v6 engagements, you're going to be able to RPG somebody no matter what. And on 10v10 maps as well. Like, really, you're not going to have too many issues. There's a clip on my channel, it was a long time ago, I can't find it, I don't remember what video it's in, but I get 2 really long-range kills on Anya Palace with an RPG just by sort of firing it over at predictable cover. And it's not a high-risk, high-reward weapon, it's just sort of, okay, you don't have a pistol, as your secondary you have an RPG. That's the only thing you're really giving up. This game has 3 free fire launchers that are very, very accurate, and that's unnecessary. I'm okay with the RPG being the best against infantry, but I believe it should have the least amount of accuracy and slower movement mechanics. I think it should be clunkier to pull out and slower to reload, but it should do the most damage to infantry. Other than the Joker, but that's a lock-on launcher, we're not talking about that. I think the Strela should be the most accurate with the smallest explosive radius. I think the Pila should be a little bit less accurate with a bigger explosive radius, and then I think the RPG should be not accurate at all with a great explosive radius. If you guys use the RPG in Call of Duty 4, that's sort of what I'm talking about. Maybe not as random, but I think after the rocket travels about 20 meters, I want it to veer off in one direction or another. That way it's still good for getting up to a camper's window and popping them, but if you want to do long-range launcher work, you need to use the Strela or the Pila. I'm also okay with the RPG taking your lethal slot, if you use it, or just limit your rockets to 1, so you only start with 1 unless you use the ammo box, you don't get a second one. The RPG is sort of a non-issue, but it's enough of an issue for me to complain about a little bit. Because there are a lot of times that my friends and I, when we're playing, we go up against somebody that's just using an RPG to negate the gunfight. You go behind cover, they don't want to wait for you, so they toss an RPG back there. At the very best, you're injured a hell of a lot, making it hard to survive either a second blast or the person actually pushing you, or at the very worst, you're just treated to an almost unavoidable feeling death. So to counter these things, I really recommend using EOD, stim shots, restock, and trophy systems with tune-up. Get your trophy systems out there in the map, constantly piss off RPG and explosive spammers. If you get hit by an explosive or you're damaged and you know someone's using an explosive, you can stim shot, get your health back, and restock will replenish those every 15 seconds. So it's really not a bad investment. Anyway, that basically wraps up my little opinion piece here. I don't know why they buffed the RPG. It didn't need a buff, it didn't need to be any better. When the game came out, it was good enough. And this video completely avoids the fact that we have no idea when this happened. Like, we don't know what patch activated these changes. Exclusive Ace, again, had to double check their work for them. So when things like the RPG are getting massively buffed without anybody knowing, I don't care if it affects one group of people or another group of people or only one game mode or it's super circumstantial, that is a buff. That is a net increase to the lethality of a weapon. Why keep that out of your patch notes? What's the point in doing that? And who did you hear saying that the RPG was underpowered, need to be more strong? In fact, I hear mostly complaints about it, if I hear about it at all. So Infinity Ward, again, you have just lost my faith in you this year. After all the sticking up for you I did during Infinite Warfare, because I thought you guys were doing great work, that's just, consider a lot of those statements retracted. So yeah, I'm ending the video with sort of my main complaint. See you when I see you guys. Goodbye.